every few months, there's like a blockbuster article about incels and the incel community. What is the incel community? It is the involuntarily celibate. It is a group of people who say that they can't have sex with anyone, but it's not their fault. It's due to society and women, and we'll get into it. One of the aspects of it that this article from the Huffington Post that I think contributed to the fact that the website in question, not the Huffington Post, but the one it references, crashed while I was researching this, is because it's so fascinating. It's called looks maxing. Looks maxing is what incels apparently do. It's a forum, it's a lot of places where people get together and talk and obsess over how people look. Here is what a post on a looks maxing site looks like. It is worthy of blonde hair girl, rate me. Should I cut my filthrum or get a new chin? Anyone got neck training transformation pics? We'll get to that in a second. Ugly asymmetrical seeking advice. What's the best blepharoplasty surgeon? It's where a bunch of guys go and say, what is that?
If I'm not mistaken, it's when you get surgery to remove bags under your eyes. I could be wrong, but I think that's what that is.
That's from lookism.net. One moment I just want to focus on the neck training.
Okay.
I was like, what the hell is neck training?
I also know a little bit about that.
Tell me about it.
You know why? Because I'm a woman. That's why I know about it.
What is that?
I think it's when, and by the way, I don't know exactly what they're referring to, but from what I gather, it's when you have a little bit of, extra like weight around your neck, I guess. And then there are exercises you can do to kind of tighten it up. So yeah, it's
for the guys on the incel community, it is the thickness of your neck is a sign of masculinity. So on the male side, it's get a bigger neck. So I start clicking and I start clicking, and then finally I get to a site that says, here is what a neck training exercise looks like, and you can watch a man demonstrate all three. Take a look. It's amazing. And it's a mix because it was so weird to go through all of these. That guy, by the way, it's just a video he made of training his neck. He's not like part of the community, but they point to him. So I don't want to be like he's the guy behind it all.
I'm terrified for that guy. I hope he's careful because he could really cause some serious damage with that exercise. I'm just worried about him. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's weird because on this website, I saw things like I'm 14 years old and I think like I'm ugly. Tell me how I'm ugly. Tell me how I can improve my face. And there's picture after picture of like, here's the golden ratio as it applies to the perfect face. And it's this obsession.
Yeah.
And part of that is super sad to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when some of these guys are so young, and you want to know who's involuntarily celibate at your age? 99.9% of the male population. Like it's just, and so look. Believe me, wanting to improve, physical appearance is not something that I'm above. Obviously, like I've done stuff. Namely, I got a nose job. So yeah, which I don't have any regrets about, and I also don't feel ashamed about at all. But I also know what it's like to feel insecure or worry about your physical appearance, and it's not a good feeling. It's especially not a good feeling when you're very young. And I just don't want these guys to hurt themselves. Like I didn't make any physical changes until I was 26. That was when I had my nose job, and it was because your face changes a lot, your body changes a lot.
Yeah.
Like my husband was super skinny when he was in his teens, like tiny, 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 and then all of a sudden he had a growth spurt and he's not so tiny anymore. But
dude, I was 135 pounds.
Yeah.
At 6 feet tall. Sorry, 6'8". I don't know. You'll never meet me, but 6'8". I'm 6'8".
That's. Yeah.
7'1". Anyways, but here's the thing: is like on one side it is sad, but then there's a certain psychological studies that kind of and psychologists who are pointing out the dangers of it, as you've obviously read in the news, and maybe when you're watching this, you're like, but what about the terrible side of incels?
Yeah.
This is a a psychologist who said males tend to take rejection as a challenge to their masculinity or an insult to their perceived place in the social hierarchy. Women are likely to feel emotionally hurt by the rejection and to assume that there is something lacking in them that warranted the rejection. This is according to Suzanne Diggs-White, chair of the Northern Illinois University Department of Counseling. She says the women are encouraged to, quote, get over it, but men often feel the need to get even. And that is the terrifying part of the incel community message boards, where they revere people who have actually turned violent. And they have a lot of their like avatar, their profile pic is like a murderer.
Jeez, yeah, I mean, it is scary. And I think that the frustration that you see, sexual frustration that you see from incels is something that has always existed. But with the internet, it helps to get people together, and converse about it, and I think mobilize people with certain movements that aren't productive in any way. I think that it makes all the sense in the world to want to improve yourself, right? And I feel like, when it comes to this physical stuff, it's, hey, what can I do to improve myself to get a girlfriend or find intimacy or whatever? But they're so young. Some of these guys are so young and so impressionable. And I worry about them getting, indoctrinated into a form of ideology that's, yes, incredibly violent and scary, but also, even if it doesn't get to that point, just destructive for their own lives, right? Yeah. So I don't know what to say about it, but there's all sorts of crazy procedures and surgeries that they discuss in these forums that I had never heard of.
Yes, really quickly on like how it can turn bad. Here's a quote from someone who said, women and society have dejected us into loneliness and depression. Their obsession with looks has driven many of us who don't fit their standards to anger and homicidal tendencies. This is not the result of mental illness. It is a normal response to prejudicial behavior. What's the incentive for incels, ugly men, to follow your social rules when your actions, good or bad, will never be rewarded? It's like, I just want to point out, like, there's so many, a lot of them say like women are obsessed with your looks. It's like, are you kidding me?
It is kind of funny because, when it comes to genders and attraction, women, yes, of course, everyone cares about attraction, but women are more likely to, oh, he makes me laugh. Oh, he's so smart. That's the reason why you have so many young women who end up wanting to date their professors. It's because they're attracted to his mind or whatever it is, right? And of course, there's also the attraction to power. That definitely exists as well. Whereas for men, and this is generally speaking, they're much more in tune to the physical aspects of the person.
Yeah, and there's a difference between a support group and this echo chamber.
Yeah.
And this doesn't seem to be the support group. It seems like an echo chamber. I will point out some of the interesting things that are the procedures. Height maxing is one of the things, so that's getting taller.
How do you do that?
We don't have a graphic for this, but it's like I'm not talking about the leg lengthening surgery. For example, I'm on MK677 and doing LSJL regularly with a calcium-rich diet. There's also plastic surgeon. I'm gonna go to the last two graphics. It's a demaxing for your gonads aren't big enough. Let's just like go into the shower, 5-minute warm up with hot water, body massage, 10-minute wet jelks with baby oil, 5-minute cool down, hot water massage, 2 to 3 minute ballooning, which just look that up. You'll have a good weekend.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.